Well, as many of you know who have been coming to these tours, my name is Riley. I work for the Associated Students Adventure Outings. And today we're doing a tour on Thailand. And as I've never been there and I don't really know anything about Thailand, I've invited both Spencer and Polawat to come do this tour. So if you'd like to take it away, go ahead.
Yeah, certainly. So hello, good evening, everyone, or good morning, whatever time you're watching this on the recording. My name is Spencer McNairn, and I am a study abroad alumni of the USAC Chiang Mai program, which is what we'll see here in a few minutes. I studied abroad there in 2019, and when I came back, I've been holding the position as the peer advisor for Asia in the study abroad office.
All right, thank you, Spencer. My name is Polawat, but for easier pronunciation, just call me Polo. It's easier. I'm just a local who lived there for like 14 years before coming here. So yeah, it was great to be able to just work on the country I love to be in again. And also, I have to really thank Spencer and Riley for giving me this opportunity to be able to come and join, participate in the tourism of what I love. Yep.
Yeah, so again, a huge shout out to Riley and Adventure Outings for helping us put this incredible presentation together. And Polawat, it would not come to fruition without your local expertise. I also want to give a shout out to Tasha Alexander from the Office of International Education and Global Engagement for her liaison work in setting this up together. So without further ado, we'll just start off with kind of a basic introduction to what you see here outlined in red is the country of Thailand. Some basic demographics. It's a country of about 70 million people as of 2019. And it's on a pretty steady, consistent growth rate of about 0.25% each year. What's interesting about Thailand is that it is very overwhelmingly Buddhist. And that is extremely apparent, as we'll see throughout this presentation, with about 94.5% of people in Thailand do adhere to Buddhism, with the next about 4.33% adhering to Islam, and the final 1.1% to Christianity. And then there's a few scattered local hill tribes in the northwestern region of Thailand that adhere to more of a local form of animism that they believe in. There are a total of 77 provinces throughout the country, so it functions as a constitutional monarchy. So there is a king that overrules the kind of major functions of Thailand, but there also is a more of a formal parliament of sorts that will govern the day-to-day decisions. And the national language, of course, is Thai. So as I mentioned in the introduction, I did study, or was very fortunate enough to study abroad in Chiang Mai, which is one of the largest metropolitan cities of the northwestern region of the country itself. And we'll start the tour off here with this location called Wakiyo Waterfall, which was one of my absolute favorite places to visit when I was studying abroad in Chiang Mai. This is located just a little bit outside of the city, which the city itself isn't major. It's not a very tall city, but it is large enough, very spread out, that you need a little break and to get a breath of fresh air. So this Wakiyo Waterfall area is, the main waterfall itself is about 10 meters tall, or 33 feet tall. And there are lots of smaller waterfalls to explore. If you kind of go up and behind the major waterfall, there are a lot of extra trails that will lead to a lot of smaller hidden gems throughout this jungle region. So what's interesting about this area is that it's very popular among not just university students, but also local monks that choose to take this area as a place to cool off on a very frequent hot Thai day. And what you see here in that picture was one of the orange robes that monks will use to tie around the tree to signify it as ordained. It's a way to protect the tree from deforestation, and as a way to kind of symbolize that interconnection between the Sangha, or the religious community, and the environment. So it is a very, again, interconnected atmosphere in this area. And again, there are many hot days in Thailand, so it's nice to come up here and catch a nice view of the city and cool off. And this area here, as we go into the next part of the presentation, so this Wakiyo Waterfall is at the base of Doi Suthep, which is one of the larger mountains that peaks over the city. So this temple that we're kind of flying into now was built in the late 14th century, in what before Thailand even existed, in what was called the Lana Kingdom at the time. So in order to get to this temple, it's necessary to climb the 300 steps of the Naga staircases. And it's a bit of a grueling journey up those stairs, but it's well worth the ascent, as you saw from the pictures above. So a little bit of history about this temple in itself, or more so the legend. The king at the time ordered a split shoulder bone that belonged to the Buddha, or when this split shoulder bone was delivered to Chiang Mai, it magically split into two. So the larger of the two pieces of this shoulder bone that belonged to the Buddha was ordered by the king to be placed on a white elephant, and that white elephant was set free to go where it wanted. However, it took multiple days for this elephant to take this trek from the Chiang Mai city up the Doi Suthep mountain, and where it was believed that the elephant stopped was on the top of this mountain here. And as the elephant trumpeted 3 times and died at this spot here, is where this major golden chedi was created in its commemoration. So it's also a very incredible place to get a view of the city. It is unbeatable views, and there's actually an airport down there, which I had never seen a major airplane like land before. It was really interesting to get that different perspective. So if you're ever afraid of flying or running out of airspace strip, they only use about half of the airstrip, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, the rest of the temple grounds within this region is very well kept, absolutely beautiful. And if you're lucky enough to get there before the sun comes up, there's again a very breathtaking view of the morning, to wake up with the morning. And even with the monks that live on this temple grounds, they'll come out as the sun rises and they'll hit the gong and practice their daily meditations in the morning. So transitioning to the next part of this quick temple tour of Chiang Mai, we fly into Wat Swan Dok, which is in the legend of the establishment of Doi Suthep. The smaller part of this magically split shoulder bone was enshrined here at this location. And it was built also in the second half of the 14th century. But what's also very interesting, and probably one of my favorite parts about this location, is what is called monk chat. Here, it is very common for a lot of tourists to engage with local Buddhist monks in a way to learn about local Thai culture, but more specifically, it's a conversation or an interaction to learn about kind of the crux of Buddhism for those who might not know a lot about it. So this temple also functions as a Buddhist university, which my time as a student at Chiang Mai University, I participated in a volunteer opportunity in teaching these monk students English. And there's a little clip here of one of our lessons.
Can you hear the sound?
Oh, I can't hear the sound.
I think that's on my end. 1 second, real quick. I apologize. I just have to stop the share real quick.
Everyone say Sally. Sally sells seashells. Seashells. By the seashore. By the seashore. All together. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Anyone that wants to get a crack at that? Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Again.
Anybody else?
So this wasn't actually part of the monk chat, but it's the same individuals that you would be participating within this monk chat program. And it's just an incredible opportunity to be able to engage cross-culturally and cross-religiously even with so many different types of people to learn so much. It really is a dual appreciation of education. And of course, the temple is beautiful in itself and is quite the sight to soak up a lot of views. So the final part of our first temple tour of Chiang Mai brings us to the center of Old Town. So the Old Town of Chiang Mai is about a 1 kilometer square of what used to be the old town of Chiang Mai. There's kind of an old wall fortress that creates this square. So right in the center is what's called Wat Luang, which is this massive complex you see here. Its construction also started in the 14th century, but took until the 15th century to complete, and was originally built to enshrine the ashes of the current king's father. So it is a very massive complex here. It was once at its peak 82 meters or 270 feet tall, which was the largest building in the Lana Kingdom at that time. However, in 1545, the upper 30 meters, or about the top 100 feet, collapsed during an earthquake, unfortunately. But in the 1990s, it was reconstructed, financed through UNESCO and the Japanese government, but there are some claims that the new elements are not consistent with its ancient Lana style, but take on more of the central Thai style of architecture. And just to its right, this temple is also home to one of the major, this pagoda, the Wat Luang, is next to another major temple of the city where a lot of local monks come every day to give blessings and practice meditation to the public. And one of my favorite things looking forward to during each week was the Sunday street market in Chiang Mai. So also located in the Old Town, you can see the kind of yellow-orange colored line there. It outlines kind of like what we have here in Chico, if you are located in Chico, like the Thursday night market. However, this is probably must be 2 or 3 times larger than our local Chico Thursday night market. And very similarly, it's a great place to engage with culture and to find many arts and crafts and my favorite local foods. There are quite a bit of tourist opportunities to try some more, I guess, exotic options, but this not being a part of daily Thai culture, but is still interesting to try these new opportunities. A side note about Thai food can be very spicy, and especially in the 90-degree heat with 80% humidity, the sweat proliferates, which is lucky a good thing that spice releases endorphins. Otherwise, it would make for a very different experience. And for me as a religious studies student, it was a little weird to see markets on temple grounds, but I grew to appreciate it, that it goes a long way to show this level of tolerance and integration of Thai Buddhism within society. So there's a lot to appreciate just within this Sunday market. And transitioning into where I did study at Chiang Mai University, it is located a little bit outside of the main town, I suppose, but that is because it is a massive university. It's about 6 times the size of Chico State. Chico State being 725 acres, or no, sorry, Chico State being 119 acres. Chiang Mai University takes up the 725 acres. So it is a very large campus and feels like a park walking through it. My first steps onto campus felt like I was walking through Jurassic Park. It was really amazing. And what's special about this campus is that it requires school uniforms that I thought was very interesting. To feel a part of this larger student environment was very special. And it's something that a lot of students there do not take lightly. So as a part of freshmen or new students being integrated into this campus and educational experience, there is this yearly ceremony called the Freshman Walk, colloquially, up to Doi Suthep that we saw earlier. So starting at that green arrow on the right side of the screen, it follows that red line all the way up this small winding mountain road to the temple of Doi Suthep that we saw earlier. And within this about 4.5 mile journey, it is a gain of 2,300 feet. But what is absolutely incredible about this experience is that all of the freshmen on campus, keep in mind it's a big university, there's about 30,000 plus students here. So all of the freshmen get together within their respective departments and trek all the way up the mountain. They walk. And you can see by the different color of t-shirts designates which department they represent. And then once you get there to those Naga staircases, it's just quite this bonding experience unlike anything else. And of course, there are set up water booths and Red Bull sponsors up on the way. Another fun fact, Red Bull is actually, or the founder of Red Bull went to Thailand and saw these interesting drinks that the Muay Thai fighters were drinking and happened to be Red Bull. Anyway, side note. But here's a little video of just kind of the true size of all of the students in this experience. So to be somewhere with thousands of students all in the same process is a very unique sight. And then transitioning away from Chiang Mai, we go into one of the many national parks that exist within Thailand. This first one being called Doi Intanon, which houses or is home to the tallest point in Thailand. This park contains an area of 482 square kilometers or 186 square miles, as compared to Lassen National Park, which many of us may be familiar with. Lassen is only 166 square miles. So this Doi Intanon National Park is bigger than Lassen and is home to so many different kinds of wildlife. Especially there are recorded over 500 bird species within this park. So it is a very biodiverse area. And as I mentioned, there is the tallest point, or the tallest mountain rather, in Thailand within this park, measuring about 8,415 feet, or about 2,500 meters tall. So for all of us in California who are spoiled with having the foothill Sierras, this would be one of the easier journeys for us, but it's quite, again, a sight to see. So However, due to, in talking about the biodiversity, due to continuous poaching, a lot of the larger mammals that used to live in this park traditionally, such as elephants or tigers or gores, have been extirpated from the park. So they're no longer here. You don't have to worry about being eaten by a tiger, which would be kind of a cool way to go. So there are two holy relics at this site. The two major temples, or pagodas rather, which are the kind of steeples that we'll see in this next section. They were commemorated. The first one was commemorated to or for the 60th birthday anniversary of King Bhumibol, or King Ramba the ninth. On the 5th of December in 1987. We'll see those in a bit, but this section here is just really quite the sight to see. It doesn't quite touch the Himalayas, this mountain range, but it is very, very close to the southeasternmost portion of the Himalayas. So there is that kind of same topography that is recognizable in its vast landscape. However, if you are a nature buff, this is an absolute must in your visit to northern Thailand. And as I was mentioning about the pagodas, these two pagodas, or the steeples here, were built to commemorate the king and queen of Thailand in the late 1980s. So it is a very special and ceremonious location within Thailand, and the fact that it's built on almost the tallest spot within Thailand is a very, very special sight to see, to soak in all of the views. And transitioning now from, or going a little more inland east, is a town in this temple in Chiang Rai, which is called the White Temple. It is very different from many of the other temple styles that we've seen, partly because its construction began in 1997. And the local architect, who is from Chiang Rai, is rebuilding this temple and funding the project with his own money, and therefore his own vision is going into it. The temple itself is not expected to finish until about 2070, so it is a work in progress, most definitely. This area, or these temple grounds, are intended to be an area of learning about Buddhism in a way to practice meditation. So not only is it quite the immaculate site, but is also a way to educate the public and the tourists that come to this area about kind of the fundamentals of Buddhism, similar to other temple sites that we've seen earlier in this presentation. So these grounds are filled with lots of Buddhist symbols regarding suffering or attachments, or especially here, most recognizably, this bridge of the cycle of rebirth from death into life. And there are no pictures allowed within the temple itself across this bridge, but it does feature a lot of symbolism regarding this attachment to many idols that exist within the world. Like there's a picture of Pikachu, there's a picture of George H.W. Bush and Bin Laden, and is just a way to illuminate a lot of these juxtapositions in society. And of course, that tree there is called the Bodhi Tree, which is was believed, or is the tree that the Buddha was meditating under when he became enlightened. So there's a bit more of the Buddhist symbolism there on these grounds. So flying over into Pai is another outdoor type adventure wonderland for all of us outdoor nerds. It's quite a bit of a journey to get here. It's 762 turns from Chiang Mai. So, but then again, it's quite well worth the adventure. There are a lot of nature trails and outdoor activities within this area. And don't tell my study abroad coordinators that I said this, but it is almost necessary to rent a motorbike once you're there, just to reach the mere vast landscape of this area. This is the hostel, I guess, or the place that I stayed when I was there. So there are a lot of amazing opportunities to engage in lots of different activities here. One of the most notable in this region, or at least within the city, is called the Big Buddha, for pretty obvious terms, as we will soon see. This Big Buddha, as we can now see, takes about 353 steps to get to the top, which elevates this figure almost above the tree line. But the Buddha is situated west, so it is a very immaculate spot for sunsets, and is very cool to see this white stone illuminate with a lot of golden textures too. It's a very magical place. Another very interesting outdoor activity in this area for hiking, or more so traversing, dare I say, is the Pai Canyon. This is another very interesting sunset spot, very popular for that precisely because of its kind of red-hued stone, and watching the sun go behind the mountains is just unbeatable. This is a very adventurous location. There aren't a lot of designated trails, so if, again, you are filled with more of that adventurous spirit and don't mind a bit of daredevilishness, then this is a very exciting spot to explore. And from here is on its way out to another very special spot in this location called, more colloquially, as the Pai Bamboo Bridge, which is the longest bamboo bridge within Thailand. To get here is quite the journey, but again, well worth it, as is becoming a very major trope within this presentation. Before this bamboo bridge existed, the monks that have a temple at the very opposite side of all of this rice that you see here, it would have taken the monks about 6 kilometers to walk kind of around and through the jungle to get to their temple at the other side of this field. However, the locals spent their own labor and resources and time to build this bridge for the monks to get to that temple. So it took what would have been that 6-kilometer journey and shortened it down to just 1 kilometer. When I was there, there might have been only 2 other tourists or 2 other people that were out there. So it's a very, very serene and quiet spot to escape. And this concludes my section of the presentation, and we'll be moving a little more south into Polawat's expertise.
All right, now it's my time to shine. So in this case, most of the spots I kind of want to recommend you are pretty much like the spots that I kind of personally like it. It's not very touristy, but trust me, it's worth it. So this one is Khao Sok National Park, which is like whatever hidden gem that most of people don't actually go there for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's cool. But this one is 738 square kilometers large in size, or like around 285 square miles. So it's like almost 2 times bigger. It was like almost 2 times bigger than Lassen National Park. And also this lake that you just see here is man-made. So it's not a natural lake because there was actually a dam which was built in 1987. So that they have like they have the power to generate the electricity in southern Thailand. And so it's also a habitat of more than 415 wildlife species like it's a really good spot for bird watching also. And here's what it looks like. It is, and water is fresh, and this one is fresh water. As you can see, it's very green. I don't know what. I don't know why either, but just that natural color. So it's very, very deep there. And of course, in the morning, there's gonna be like some fog in there also. So it's like a perfect place for you to take photos or even like flying drones around. So yep, that's the place I would recommend there. And all right, I would say the next spot is like my personal favorite, even more than this one, because like it's like a very small spot, like has very small gimmick. It's not far away from Bangkok either. It's called Paragon Cave, which was like a cave with a shrine in it. And this shrine was made to be, it was supposed to be made for King Rama V in 1980, in 1890. And because like they got, because the king kind of wants to have like some place to do the documents as a it's, you can think of it as like a vacation house or something like that, but this one's kind of more like a bungalow for like a spots or something like that. And around here there's also a temple inside a cave, and in order to get to here, you have to take a hike from the beach over here, which is gonna be like around a mile long journey, but really worth it. And also the beach over here is very unique since you can see all the pine tree growing out everywhere in the beach, which I don't think you see that really often in California. So it was like a pretty interesting sight. And I add some photo of the trails also, which was like a pretty cool trail. You can see the beach. So you can see the beach from over there also. So yep, a square, just like a mile journey, really worth it. And also we're gonna move up a little bit north, but not too north. And this is a place called Utama Memorial Bridge, which is like the largest wooden bridge in Thailand. And it's the second largest in the world, which is a bridge connecting between Thailand and Myanmar border. And also this bridge is 850 meters or 0.52 miles long. So it's really long one. And it's really chill. The weather is really great there also. And they have like lots of good street foods from Thailand and Myanmar. And this case, the longest bridge was actually Uben Bridge, which is located in Myanmar. Was around 0.75 miles long or 1,200 meters. And this one was built by the name of Buddhist monk named Utama in 1896 because he wanted to create a path for Thai monks and monks from Myanmar to be able to communicate with each other and live religion together. So most of the villagers from Myanmar was the one who actually built this. So it was like another cool place for you to kind of see the reflection of Buddhism in there. And let's go to the next spot. And this one is another historical bridge, which is going to be very interesting. I think some of you might have even heard of it. Have you ever seen a movie, The Bridge of Riverquy? This one is that bridge. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it's that exact bridge, but it was rebuilt right next to where the old one was, so it's not really far away. It was like another good place for you to actually see like a almost 100 years old bridge that's still operated as a bridge for a train. And it's a really good sunset also. Over there, you can also go to the World War II cemetery to pay respect to prisoners of war over there who built the dead railway. While you can also go and have some street foods. Also, they have like one of the best street food over there, which I love it so much. And it's very cheap also. And the next one, it's what the dead rail apart. This one's a part of the dead railway, so you're gonna be able to see what it's gonna look like. It's like this one is like the most exciting spot since it was around. It was just right next. It was just on the cliff. It was just right on the cliff. It was just built right on the cliff, as you can see in the street views over here, and it's still operating. And it's still operating. So this one is pretty extreme. Anyone who'd like to go to adventure or still like or stuff like that, you can just ride a train from Bangkok and go straight to here. And the river right next to it is Riverquy, which not far away from here. There's also another national park called Erawan National Park, which has like 7-layer waterfall. So it's like a good spot for you to stop by and took some photos before going to Erawan National Park. But yep, this one is a good one. And now we're gonna go back to modern times. And let's see. Yep, we're gonna go back to modern times to some of the shopping malls. I know everyone loves shopping malls here, at least. So the shopping mall in Thailand is very unique indeed. And this one is like one of them. It's called Siam Paragon. In Thailand, most of the shopping malls are pretty much a community center. You can do literally anything here, including buying stuff, doing groceries, watching movies, playing bowlings, or even like every single type of entertainment is gonna be packed in that mall alone. And there are also some government agency and banking area also. So yeah, you can do literally anything. You can just like get a new passport here also, which is what I usually do. And there's not only one mall, but a whole street full of malls. As you can see here, this one's Central World, which is like just like half a mile away, and you can just walk by. And over here is literally a maze, so you can get lost there. And over there, they just opened it like I think it was last year. It was new Apple store. It's right next to the Central World. So yep, for anyone who likes Apple, you can go there also. And this one is just right next to it called Gaysorn, which is a place where you can have like luxurious international food also. Because Thailand is like, because Bangkok is a very multicultural city, so there are lots of like foreigners or expats here also, which kind of influence how people think here. And this is what I talk about. This is the Central Embassy, which is literally a shopping mall, but on the upper part of the building, it's an office building. So you can go over there, and there's gonna be like a government agency. There's gonna be a floor entirely just for a government agency. So you can pay tax, you can make the ID cards here, or even applying for passports. So everything is packed in one. That's why most people kind of prefer to go to malls in Thailand. So yep, that's one thing that I kind of like about. And yep. All right, we see quite a lot of concrete jungles here. Let's go to somewhere green. This one's called Lumpini Park. This Lumpini Park was built in 1925 during reign of King Rama VI after World War I. It was the first exhibition area in Bangkok. Its size is around 142 acres with huge natural pool where you can find a pack of monitor resort, which you're gonna see it real soon. So yeah, please go to the street views. And of course it's a park, so you're gonna see a bunch of trees and flowers, but also as you can see in the picture over there, yep, that's the modular resorts that I'm talking about. It's like a very normal thing here in Bangkok that you're gonna see like a giant resort which is like around 5 or 6 feet long, roaming around the park. They just don't do anything to you. They just walk by. So yeah, it's like a good place. So yeah, it looks like a good place for you to just like kind of spot some wildlife in the cities, even though it was a little bit exotic here. And yeah, this is a place I really like to come and relax when I really need like my own time. And let's go to the next port. And as I said before, Bangkok was multicultural area. So there's this community called Kudishin, which is literally like a merchant area. So most of it, so Bangkok was like a port town before. So so when the merchant come, like merchant from anywhere comes, they're gonna have to come and stop by at this community. So it's a community built like at that time there were like mainly Chinese people and some Portuguese, some people from Malaysia and Indonesia also, and some people from India. So most of the culture are kind of mixed up here, just like including religion, which is the reason why you can see, the influence in food also, just like what you can see over here. And this one, some people might not know it, but it's a type of dumpling. It's a type of like a flour dumpling. It's called chow muang, and that purple color is also natural color from flower called butterfly pea. So yep, that's a good one. And this one is one of a food that get an access to a royal kitchen also. It's called bird dumpling. It's not very different from normal dumplings, except that it's kind of more similar to xiaolong bao when it has like a hot stock in it, also some hot chicken stock in it. And this one's the food where this one's like Chino Portuguese food when they combine like some Portuguese ingredients like potatoes or even tomatoes, which is not locally, which wasn't local fruit before, but yep, and they combine with Chinese cooking. So that we got it here, and we have the next one. This one's called Katong Tong, which we got influencers from the Portuguese merchant also, but in this case we kind of mix it with Thai curry. So you're gonna see like lots of Thai curries in the pastry looking like. It tastes really good. I really like it. So this is like one of the only place where you can have this unique Siam, Portuguese food. This is one of my favorite also, which is like it was a Portuguese cupcake, but it was mixed with Chinese fruits, and it's also glazed with Thai palm sugar. So it was it's also like, yeah, it's like very fluffy. It was very crispy cupcake from the outside, but very fluffy inside. So yep. As it's only available in Kudishin also. So that's why I wanted to try it. And this one, as I can say, since there are many people from many cultures, there's gonna be many people from different religion also, which you can see here. This is also a part of Christian community in Thailand also, which was not very rare, but there are not that many Christian people in Thailand. So this one's called Santa Cruz Temple. Yep, Thai people call it temple, not a church, which was like very interesting indeed. And this one's also like made in the Gothic Baroque style, like an Italian style. So because there were quite lots of Italian artists who came here during reign of King Rama V in order to teach Thai people how to do the Renaissance arts also. So it was a really nice touch to it. So yep, let's go to the next shrine. And this one's also a big Chinese community. So there's gonna be like a really big and old Chinese shrine. This one is like 200 years old Chinese shrine called Gian Gan Eng. And this one, and yep, let's go to the next one. And this one is, people might not know it, but this is a mosque, like a Muslim mosque. So we're kind of live together without having any problems. And when people from each religion is gonna have like a ceremony or something like that, they usually invite other people with different religions, like just like when Muslim people kind of want to hold an event or something like that, they gotta invite people from Chinese community and people from Christian community to come and help, and vice versa from from Christian community, and also Thai people are gonna come and join also. And yep, let's go to the next one. This one is like a Thai temple over there. And as you can see, like Buddhism is like a very tolerant religion, so they literally just accept any changes or any other religion, because like we don't really like go against them, because we are like a port land, so it's kind of like a big, so this community becomes like a very big melting pot for us, and that's what built the characteristic of Bangkok, also diversity, because that's what we are. And yeah, and now let's go to my favorite spot. This is gonna be the last spot for this trip, but I really love this spot so much. And this spot is called Yamaha Street. It's called Yamaha Street, or AKA Chinatown, which is like a whole big Chinese community built in 1890. And this is where street food trains start, because like Chinese merchants and Chinese chefs kind of want to sell their food here, so that they start like selling it in the cart or in the stores. And Thai people kind of want to have like their own version of that also, so they literally like adapt those street food cultures from those Chinese immigrants and adapt it with Thai culture also, and it kind of spread from here to all over Thailand. And that's why Thailand is like one of the place with like which is like very popular with street foods. It all started here. So yep, I would say this is kind of sum up what Thailand actually is. So yep, it's a very interesting place, and also multiculturalism. So if you have anything cool to share, you can just come here, and everyone's gonna welcome you. And yep, thank you very much for it. Thank you very much, Spencer, for sharing a part of Chiang Mai, which is not a part I really have like expertise with, but thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, Polawat, thank you. I wish we had met sooner before I went to Thailand. There are so many amazing places that I had never seen before. It's great to see your local lens. Also, again, a huge shout out. Thank you again, Riley, for helping us put this together in Adventure Outings. And also, Tasha Alexander, thank you for playing the liaison game and setting this all up and doing the behind the scenes connections.
Thank you, Tasha.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask or put it in the chat. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes if there are questions.
Nice Q&A time. All right. Thank you also later. Really appreciate everyone here.